fight tonight.
What's going on, everybody? Jade up here. Today's video is going to be over my tank build for Veterans Inspire hard mode, and we'll be kind of going through this stuff pretty quick. So let's go jump right into it, I guess. I'm going to be going over literally everything as far as what gear I use for trash, what skills I use, and a little bit why. I am solo tanking everything all the way up until the last boss. The last boss we have 2 tanks and then 1 person that taunts some stuff and moves it into a certain place, right? I know it's very vague, but if you hang out and stream, you'll learn a lot of stuff. Which is twitch.tv/JDUB. Excuse me, it'll be in the description down below if you want to come on Twitch and hang out. So yeah, I'll just go over each individual trash pull and stuff like that. Or not trash pull, but every like stuff that I have. That's why I have it set it up like this. So we do have food on. Let's just go over that first. We do have the Lord as a Mundus, and then we have Bewitched Sugar Skull. It's the better one to use. If you can't afford it, just use another tri-stat food. But this gives you more return. 4620 health, and then 4250 magnet stamp. It's really good. And then 400 health recovery, which is nice. It's not really needed that much, but it is nice. Smallest physical is 2500. Yes, I know I have pen. That's because this stupid thing right here won't drop for anything other than like training or something like that. So that's why we have a little bit of pen. And I'm too lazy to transmute it because it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest. With our major resolve up, we're at 30k. Ice boss 29k. Fire boss, we're at 28k, 26. And our last boss, Navi, we're at 32k. Physical and spell resistance. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the gear, why we're running it, and stuff like that. Not really going to go over traits too much as far as like gear. I'll just do this so you guys can see what trait I'm running, right? I'll talk a little bit about the jewelry. Other than that, that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about. Running Thorvikins. Thorvikins gives minor main to every enemy hit by it. And since I'm solo tanking, it is kind of nice to affect everything with minor maim. We are not running the other Moerfa for Heroic Slash, so that's why Thorvikins is good here. If we were a Dragonite, I would just put on Talons and Talons everything, and then run a different monster set, like Lord Warden or something like that. But that's what I like to run. The first 5-piece set, Defiled Dragons. Basically what this set does is whenever you take melee damage, you affect enemies around you with minor fracture and minor breach. Since this is a minor debuff, you cannot gold this out and get that minor. You can't gold this out and get 1320 higher because it's a minor, right? It's a minor debuff. Debuffs like buffs that are minor and major, if you gold them out, they don't get any better unless they're a flat value rate. So it's just something like Alkosh. So if you look at Alkosh, look at gold, we're at 3k, and then purple, we're at 2905. Alright, so there's kind of no point in going it out. I mean, I guess if you want a little bit extra stam and health and all that stuff, sure, but I'm pretty much set, honestly. I don't need that much more stam, and I don't really need that much more health. I'm pretty much good. As far as our second piece, we're running Alkosh. I am using Infused into Harmony. I was kind of running it as a meme, but it's actually doing like decent damage sometimes. When I pop a blue orb, what will happen is sometimes I'll get it to proc for, I think the highest I've seen it proc for was like 25k. It's actually pretty disgusting. And that hits every enemy, so which is pretty nice. But once we get into speed running and start getting going for Godslayer, like we start getting faster and faster in our trash, I'm gonna have to swap these to Swift. So keep that in mind. All Swift jewelry. Swift jewelry increases your movement speed by like 6%, I think. Let me see. So yeah, 6%. And then I'll eventually swap these to Swift. And then it'll be reduced cost, mag recovery, and then potions, infused potions. Weapons here. As you can see, Crusher. I like to try to apply Crusher to enemies that need to die quickly. Such as like the white cats, basically. Well, that's what I run. As far as the skills go, again, I solo tank everything, and I'll be going over like off tanking, or excuse me, not off tanking. I'll be going over like what other gear you could potentially run as a main tank, and what other skills I would run if I was running with another tank. Pierce armor, dark cloak. Dark cloak is just your heal, gives you minor protection. That's why we're not using ransack. If you don't have a way to acquire minor protection, ransack is also good. And the reason why is because if you have a healer, if you have two dedicated healers, one of them can run Ellie Drain. And that way you don't have to run Pierce Armor to do the breach. Right. And then Ransack gives Fracture, so you're good with Stam. Dark Cloak as their heal. Lotus Fan. The reason why we run this is because on Trash Pulls you can hit this once they're stacked, kind of nice and neat. It affects them with minor vulnerability for 10 seconds. So the damage they take is increased by 8%. So Relentless or Leeching Strikes for our Stam recovery. Pretty much it. Heroic Slash. Minor Heroism. It's the reason why we're running this in Trash. Just to try to get Warhorns. In cap. I run this on my front bar because at the very bottom it says while slotted you gain Reeve, which restores 100 magic and Stam when you deal like a heavy attack or a light attack against enemies with a negative effect. So if by some miracle you're heavy attacking something that doesn't have a negative effect, you won't get the 100 Stam and Magicka back, which is almost impossible if you have some competent DPS that runs skills. Anyways, Inner Rage here. I like it. You can run the Stam Morph if you want. I see no point in running the Stam one. Mag's better, I think, in certain situations. Refreshing Path. You could change this out for Rapids. Totally up to you. Blockade. Relentless Focus here. And then, of course, the Release Our Chains. We run this Relentless Focus for the 10%. Once you get this stacked up to 10%, so focus your senses for 1 minute, reducing your damage taken by 2% for every light and heavy attack up to 5 times. So basically hit this, light attack 4 times, hit it again, then light attack, and then you'll have 60 seconds of a 5 stack. You'll have 5 stacks of this. So 2 times 5 is 10. You have 10% reduced damage taking. So just make sure that this is always up as much as you can. Then we have Chains, and then we have Warhorn, aggressive, for the major force. Alright, let's look at the Ice Boss. Alright, we are running Symphony of Blades, mainly because it just helps out the group a lot. When you have Stam and Mag, if you have Stam or Mag in your group and their resources get below 50%, so if they're a Magicka DPS, they get below 50% resources on their mag, you heal them, and this will potentially proc on them, and they won't have to worry about resources for about 6 seconds. It's pretty nice. Our other main piece set that we're running is going to be Yonokrins, and this is what we'll have up all the time on every boss fight. Basically what this does is when you taunt an enemy, your group members and yourself are affected with minor courage, which is increases your weapon and spell damage, and you can proc it once every 8 seconds. It lasts for 15. The other set we're running is Worm. If you're tanking with another tank, you will potentially run Tong, more like Tong, or Alkosh. Just depends on how you're tanking it. If you're tanking it far like I am, you'll probably run Tong. If you're tanking Ice Boss up close, then you'll probably run Alkosh. Just depends. So I run a 5-piece Worm, 5-piece Yolnakrins. I do run reduced stamina cost because I do tank it from afar, and I do spam defensive posture sometimes because the ability doesn't go off. But sometimes, and this happens a lot, I'll hit the ability, it takes my stam, but the ability doesn't go off. It's really freaking annoying, but it's just the way the game is right now, and that's why I run reduced stam cost here. 2 robust, 1 arcane. And then I run 2 body pieces because weapons and jewelry don't seem to drop ever. I don't believe it drops. Lightning staff I've never seen. So if you have it, you suck. As far as the abilities go, Pierce Armor, Dark Cloak, Defensive Stance. Now, Defensive Stance is to reflect if you're tanking the Ice Boss from afar, he shoots you with a little ice orb thing. You hit this defensive stance, it'll reflect it back to him. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do, and it really is a pain in the ass to do this. But if you could pull it off, it's really good. Leeching for the stam. Heroic Slash, obviously, for the heroism and maim. And then, of course, we have Incap. Again, for sustain. Inner Rage to grab the ads. Purge. Here, the reason why is the Storm Atros will randomly hit a target, one of your players, and they'll affect them with basically just a bullshit dot. You purge it, good to go. Ellie Jane, because we have one dedicated healer healing the cages, and then we have one healer that is basically DPSing. So I run Ellie Jane, and then we're good to go. Relentless Focus for the 10% reduced damage. This is basically going to be up during ad phases. You don't really have to worry too much about it during the boss fights. I have just been, when the bosses landed, what I normally do is I'll get this to 5 stacks and just proc my bow at the boss because I'm not really taking any damage. So I just do that because I'm bored. And then Overflowing Altar. You lay that down because it does proc Symphony of Blades. So that's the reason why we run Overflowing Altar. And plus, if anybody gets low, they can activate it, and they'll be good to go. You want to make sure you try and get this down at least all the time. So it'll help everyone out. And of course, Aggressive Warhorn. We will always run Aggressive Warhorn on our back bar and Incap on our front bar, so I'm going to stop saying those. Alright, let's go to... as far as, I think I already said this, but as far as, if you're tanking with another tank, you're more than likely going to run Tong or Alkosh. Still probably run Symphony of Blades and Blood Altar. And you should be fine. The next one is a Fire Boss. I like to run Stonekeepers because there are certain situations where it just becomes a shit show, and you just have shitty resource management sometimes, and Stonekeepers negates that. And it helps you out. Since I'm solo tanking, that's what I'm running. Eventually I will weed off of Stonekeepers and run Symphony of Blades. But as of now, I'm just going to run Stonekeepers to play as safe as possible for Godslayer. The other set we're running is still Worm. Still the same shit. Literally, the only thing I changed was Stonekeepers. Now let's look at the abilities here. Of course, Pierce Armor, Dark Cloak. Dark Cloak. The reason why we use this because it's your heal. It gives you major resolve and it gives you minor protection. And the major resolve is here. When you cast a shadow ability, it grants you major resolve. So the more heavy armor you have, increases the bonus. So right now we're at 12 seconds. Once I get all heavy pieces on, which I have some light, once I get all heavy pieces on, it'll last longer. And the way that Dark Cloak lasts, the Dark Cloak only lasts 8 seconds. So you'll be hitting it every couple seconds anyways. So you'll keep your major resolve up. Silver Leash, pulling the Atros, the Fire Atros. It's just a lot easier. You taunt everything, roll underneath the boss, stand in a specific spot, and if you don't, if you're too far left or right, you'll get knocked back. So keep that in mind. Roll in, go in first person, turn around, go in first person, pull the ads in quickly, turn back around, retaunt the boss, lay down blockade, and you're good to go. Relentless or leeching again, and heroic slash. I'm not gonna go over that stuff again. We already did. Mirage. We are going underneath the boss, so major evasion is really good here, and of course minor resolve as well. Blockade. Keep that crusher up time going, and then plus up balance every once in a while for the stam. Relentless focus to 10% reduced damage that we take. LE drain again because we have one dedicated healer, and our other healer is DPSing. And if you're running 2 tanks, you'll probably again run Tong or Alkosh. Tong or Alkosh on every boss with Yonakrins, and the only thing you'll be changing out is a monster set more than likely. Alright, Navi, last boss. Wait for everything to load up. Okay. So I'm running Vycosa. So let me just say this. Vycosa got nerfed for whatever reason, basically. The reason that I got, or that I seen from the forums or the patch notes, was that, you know, the people that were using it good could benefit from it, and everyone else that sucked at using it couldn't benefit from it. So they changed it. I don't understand that really at all. Because there's literally less than 1% of the group, or 1% of people would use this anyways. So I don't really know the reasoning behind the nerf. I would just like it a better excuse than, yeah, these people, these 1%, 1% of the entire game uses it and uses it good, right? So it makes no sense to me, but whatever, right? Anyways, I still use it because the 19% reduced weapon and spell damage. I'll gold this out today, actually. And it should increase it to 20%, I think. We'll see, though. Come in the stream and find out. Or I'll put it in the pinned messages on down below if it does increase. I think it should, because it's not a major or a minor buff or debuff. So it should increase it by 20%. Or it should increase to 20%. But anyways, we run Vycosa here. Just to kind of reduce the damage we take, because we get marked for death. Marked for death gives you major defile, and it reduces your spell resistance. Pretty much, like I'm at like 30 something K, and then it reduces it all the way down to like 10K, 11K. So it's going to reduce your spell resistance quite a bit. Excuse me. So Vycosa's pretty good here. You just taunt, bash, you're good to go. The other 5-piece set we're running, it's always Yonakrin. The other 5-piece set we're running is Eben. And everybody kind of knows what Eben does. If you're running a trial, if you've been tanking for a minute, that's why you're watching this video, you already know what Eben does. So I don't need to explain why. Everybody just needed more health, basically. That's and a just, you know. The jewelry, I'm running 1 infuse for mag recovery. Healthy, mag recovery. And then on this, I'm going to run healthy. And I got to change this to mag recovery, because I just equipped it. I was running harmony. Here. And the reason why is for like the increased heal off of blood altar and orbs and healing orbs and stuff like that. That's why I was running it. But now that I don't really need that anymore. Now that we finally have our healer and our healing figured out, I don't really need it anymore. So I can weed off of that and start running different shit now. As far as the skills go, Pierce Armor, Dark Cloak. I am running power extraction. This is mainly for the ads. I don't 100% know if it stacks with Vicosa on the boss. It should stack because they are both. They're not majors and they're not major or minor debuffs. It probably doesn't, but it should stack. I haven't had a chance to really test it out, but we'll find out. Or we'll try and find out tonight. Leeching Strikes. I don't have to read all that stuff again. You already know what it is. Mirage again. Major Evasion, Minor Resolve, really good. Crusher uptime here, off balance, because we do have one stam that does DPS, so it does help out. And then we have Relentless for the 10% reduction, Ellie Drain, and again, Warhorn. Other than that, that's pretty much it. As far as like pots and stuff that I use, let me go over those. Again, the food that I use, Bewitched. The pots that I use are the Essence of Health pots. The 52.8 second ones are really good. You can get 40. You can get the other ones. It really doesn't matter which ones you get. I do use Lingering Health pots sometimes. We have no access to Major Vitality unless we pop Bone Shield or something like that. Other than that, Lingering Health pots is really good. If you get marked for death and you're just kind of shitting for heals, use Essence of Lingering Health pots. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The reason why I don't use Immovable anymore is because the time stops. I just move out of them. That's literally the only reason. I just move out of them now. And plus, like, it is nice. I do recommend using this. Keep it if you are having issues with like getting marked for death and getting the cone on you at the same time. I do highly recommend using this. But do keep in mind that if you have too heavy here, which I actually need to change that to my other heavy. Where's my other? There. Keep in mind that if you have too much heavy here. What the fuck is going on? Oh, that's because I'm stupid. Okay, whatever. If you have all heavy here, and you use this ability, you're not going to be able to move at all for 6 seconds. So keep that in mind. That's why you want to run at least one medium, and then you proc this, or then you hit this ability, and then you can at least dodge roll backwards, or move just a little bit if you need to. I think I went over this. Yeah, I went over that. 60 in the health, 4 in the stam. We'll go over your CP. 7 Warlord, 21 Sprinter, which I will eventually take points out of here and put it in the Sprinter. Actually, fuck it. I need one more point, basically. Fuck it. I'll mess with it later. But I'll eventually get points in the Sprinter. More points in the Sprinter. Because we do run a lot. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. Yeah, so we'll do something like this. We'll do like 19, then we'll put the rest in there. There, good to go. 3 Warlord, 33 Sprinter, 56 Tenacity, 75 Arcanist, 31 Tumbling. I do dodge roll a little bit, not much. It's very little that I dodge roll. 72 Shadowborn. 100 and 100 here. The only reason I do that is because I don't ever get low enough to proc Last Stand. So that's why I don't put any points in here anymore. So I just kind of been putting points randomly in different spots. So I run 100 here, 100 here. If you are noticing that you are getting low to 20% health, definitely to put 75 here, 72 here, I believe it is, whatever the jump number is, and then put 120 points into here, so you get the Last Stand, and then put the rest in like Physical Weapon Expert. But I run Physical Weapon Expert 37 and then 33 here. I'm going to be changing this around a lot here and there, so it's not really set in stone. Just kind of put it wherever you want to be honest. 81 Ironclad, 26 Spell Shield, 49 hardy, and then 40 thick skin. I have put more into thick skin, and I've put less into thick skin. It's whatever, honestly. I've been kind of like messing with my skill points a lot. Last night I ran quite a bit in the healing recovery here, which I'll run again tonight. But as of right now, I'm running. This is what I'm running: 25 heavy armor focus, 49, 49, 40, 26 spell shield, and 81 that 81 ironclad. But what I am eventually gonna try tonight is I'm gonna lower this down to like 12 or 10. Same thing with this, and then put the rest of the points in the quick recovery, and then see how this works on Navi when I get marked for death. I just want to see how it will work, because heals last night were really good, so I just want to test some stuff out. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I don't really think I need to go over anything else, since it's just the build video. I am running alpha gear. That's what this is. That's how I can swap my stuff. If you don't know how to set that up, just go to keybinds, go down to where it says alpha gear here. Where's that? Alpha gear, and then load 1. You can just set them to your F keys all the way down, and then you just hit F1, 2, whatever, and then you can swap gears easily. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys and girls, and hopefully this video helped you out. On that, take care and have a good one. See you in the next video.